Hey everybody, guess who? It has been quite a while since I made a video. I've made a whole bunch of videos, but I've even edited some of them together, but I've never posted them. I kept procrastinating, putting it off, and then it didn't feel relevant anymore. So I deleted all of them, and I'm gonna make a new one. Let me turn you around. All right, well, like I said, it has been a long time since I posted a video, and a lot of things have changed since that last video. So, as you know, my last video was my failed Appalachian Trail through hike attempt. And man, that was a fiasco. But in hindsight, I am so glad that I didn't through hike the Appalachian Trail this year. And I'll get into that later. But for now, I am back in Texas. I continued to cohabitate with my ex-wife until the beginning of June. I found a part-time job working at Amazon in Kyle, Texas at the sortation center. Part-time job, 24 hours a week, even though I don't think I've worked 24 hours in a week since I started. So I'm lucky to get 15 hours a week, but I'll get into that in a little bit too. I did find an apartment. Oddly enough, it's the same apartment complex I lived at before I went to Colorado. I just live in the same building, one floor up and one apartment over. So I'm on the third floor this time. And I love it. It's a one bedroom. I've got pictures of it. I'll go ahead and share. I think I saved those pictures. If not, I know they're in a chat log. Well, if they're in the chat log, they have to be in my photo album still. So anyway, I'll go ahead and post those if they're still there. If not, I'll take more pictures and post them, because it's a nice apartment for a one bedroom. It's not huge, but it's not as small as my studio either. The studio apartment I had last time I lived here. There before I found the apartment, I as a backup contingency applied for a seasonal job at YMCA of the Rockies again. This time they didn't have a position at the Estes Park Center, so they offered me a housekeeping position at Snow Valley Ranch, which is outside of Granby, Colorado, on the west side of Rocky Mountain National Park, near Winter Park, Colorado. Like I said, I was offered that job. I was set to go, and it was just a toss-up between, you know, staying at Amazon working part-time and having full-time applications out everywhere I can have them, with the hopes of getting a full-time job, which I'm still doing, or not getting the, go ahead and resigning from Amazon not get an apartment, and just head back to seasonal work for a time. So I ended up deciding to stay and kind of hope everything goes in my favor here, with finding a full-time job somewhere, or making enough hours at Amazon that I can cover my rent. My rent with all the fees and everything is about $11.35 a month. My base rent is like $973, but there's a mandatory like perks package that includes, you know, your water, your internet, your trash, and everything else. So that ends up being about $1,135. And then if I'm going to use my credit card or my debit card to pay the rent, there's an extra $30 fee on top of that. So it ends up being about, you know, $1,170-ish. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Oh, look at that moon. So anyway, I've decided I needed hobbies since I'm not going to be hiking. Oh, damn it. Walking and talking has made me have the hiccups. So anyway, I have started collecting Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards. I used to collect and play Magic the Gathering a lot back in late 90s, early 2000s. Sorry. I'm trying to hold my breath. That's not working. Damn it. Hold on. Damn it. Anyway, I also started buying D&D books because I'd like to get back into tabletop gaming again, if I can find a group to play with. So those are my hobbies. Right now, I'm tracking all the cards that I get on an app called Collector, and I've probably got about $1,200 worth of cards so far. So it's an investment, and I've probably spent more than $1,200 for the cards. So might not be a good return on my investment, but it's fun. And ripping those packs open is highly addictive. So I also was going through my Zazzle stores, and I decided to start a new one. So it's called Ravenshire Fantasy, and it's basically fantasy artwork in the vein of Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, all of the fantasy novels that I loved and read growing up. I've probably got about 5 t-shirts made, and 2 posters, and a canvas wrap print so far. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts right now. Let me turn you around right quick. Huh. That's weird. Okay, let's try this again. So it's a picture of a halfling, and he's saying, I'm not short, I'm a live action miniature. So, super cute. I love it. All right. Now that the camera is cooperating again, the frame kept freezing on me and it wouldn't save the recording. Anyway, man, I have noticed a lot of RVs out right now. It must be I mean, it is vacation time, so it's not surprising. I apologize for the hiccups. Ugh. It happens more frequently lately. Whenever I am out walking doing a video, I tend to get the hiccups now. I don't know why. I mean, obviously it's, low oxygen level. I don't know. I've been having those lung issues. It might be tied to that. Anyway, so yeah, my Zazzle store. I also created a TikTok channel for it as well, and I'm going to start making little videos made with the pictures that are on the shop website of the models wearing the t-shirts, or pictures of the posters or canvas wrap prints, and make little fantasy styled instrumental music on Suno to go with it. And I'm gonna start putting them on TikTok, and probably I'll probably make a Facebook page for it too, just to try to drum up more business. That's my marketing strategy. And I'll post it on Instagram too. So I think whenever I upload it to Facebook, it automatically goes to Instagram. I'm not sure though, but I'll check it. The past week or so, I have actually been working on a book idea with an AI app. I don't remember the name of it right now, and up until now it hadn't asked for me to subscribe, so I thought it was completely free. But doing the last bit of what I was doing today, it finally hit that wall and asked me to subscribe to get points. But the positive thing about it is I've completely worked out a world Bible for it. All about the world, the races, just the overall summary of everything in this world, the world name, the different races that are in it, what the races are like, and the different various things that go on, like the prophecy that the story is centered around, which is a cyclical prophecy called the Wheel. Not to be confused with the Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan's novels. Completely different. And I use the metaphor in a different manner. It's not a Wheel of Time where, it's totally different. The wheel refers to artifacts that prevent a cataclysm that is a recurring thing in this world. or one hero is called from each race to undergo the quest for the artifacts. Ooh, sorry. And prevent the cataclysm and reset the world balance. And also to determine which race is going to be the dominant race in the next stage. But so it's halfling, elf, dwarf, human. Those are the 4 major races. Anyway, secondly, I have a full atlas, geographical atlas Bible, which details in depth the land mass in the world, because it's a supercontinent. There's only one continent, and it's crescent shaped. And in the bowl of the crescent is a chain of islands, and the world is governed by ley lines. You know, kind of like our planet is, but to a greater degree. You know, the racial instabilities actually cause the ley lines to become unstable, and it causes these cataclysms. So, and then the third Bible I have is the character Bible, and it's the 4 main characters, their back histories, their families, their personalities, where they live, their secrets, their fears, their hopes, and what part they play in the party. So, because as the way the prophecy is structured, and you know, whoever wields the completed artifact, because the artifact has 3 pieces to it. 3 people in the party find the artifacts, and the 4th one is the one that wields the assembled completed artifact and prevents the cataclysm, or halts the cataclysm, and determines which race is going to be the dominant race in power during the next stage. So it's not necessarily a coherent party in the sense of a typical like Dungeons and Dragons campaign party. They each have their own agenda, and they're not above backstabbing the other ones to be the one wielding the completed artifact. So there's going to be a lot of tension, a lot of drama, and there's just so much potential for this story. So in the AI, I worked out all of that and basically finished the preparation stage, and I was ready to get into the writing. And it said, well, we can't go any further because you've run out of points and you need to subscribe. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is take those saved files, the 3 Bibles. I was able to save them onto my computer hard drive. I'm going to go into Copilot, because I've already started talking about it in Copilot, and had Copilot actually make me pictures of each of the characters. And then a like landscaped picture of all 4 of them together in front of the place they have to end up. And then I turned that picture also into a book cover. And the name of the book is called The Heroes of the Wheel. And the only thing I don't like about the book cover is the title is in the same font and layout as the Wheel of Time books. which having wheel in the title is not ideal. Not ideal. I don't want my book to look like a reflection of an already published work, because I mean, Robert Jordan was a genius when it came to writing the Wheel of Time series. I mean, 14 books, massive books, and a massive plot within plot within plot storyline with thousands of characters and massively convoluted plot lines. That was just epic. And I'm still sorry he never got around to finishing it himself. Brandon Sanderson had to finish it for him after his untimely death. But Brandon Sanderson did a wonderful job. I mean, Robert Jordan had copious amounts of notes. I mean, a room full of notes that he had to go on. So anyway, I don't want my book to be a reflection of that. I want it to be able to stand on its own. So what's going to happen is this book cover is just going to be a mock-up for whatever book cover a publisher would come up with. The picture would be the same, but the font would be different. And I have the original picture without the book title on there as well that they can use. And since it is a landscaped picture, it can also be used as a dust cover for the book. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those Bibles and copy and paste the entire text into that chat string that I use to create the character pictures, so it knows what the world is about, who the characters are and what their backgrounds are, and who their family is, the names, places, personalities, everything. And then take the geography as well and enter that in there, and then see if I can't start writing the book with Copilot instead of this other AI. That way I can do it without having to have a subscription. Now, depending on how the plots go, I'm just going to use it to maybe not write the entire book as is from that, but write a little bit, say, okay, start here, and then with this in mind, keep going, and then have a whole bunch of sections, and then something I can thread together as a completed tapestry later. So that's where I'm at with that. I have more to talk about, but I've got to get to my apartment, so I'm not going to have y'all running while I'm walking through the hallway. So I'm going to shut y'all off, and we'll do a short little tour of the apartment when I first get there, and then I'll finish whatever I'm talking about. There is an elevator, but taking the stairs is quicker. You can always tell which apartment is mine, too. Definitely not a trapdoor. How weird is it that this is my key? All right. So let me turn the light on. So that's the front door. Let me zoom out. That's the front door, and it's got this little seat area. I have my Magic and Pokemon cards here, my Dungeons and Dragons books, my writing books, some other various books, collection of Bibles and maps and D&D characters, and my professional portfolio. I have a big box set of CDs, classical music. I've got a penny collection, and then I have these hangers. I actually put a dagger on here. I got my Fallout hat, picture that I took in the Beartooth Pass between Montana and Wyoming. It's on metal. Over here I have a birthday card that is like, it looks like a canvas wrap print, but it's actually a card. It's Thomas Kincaid. Then this way, this is the water heater or the air conditioning. I have no access to it. Over here is the washer and dryer. Now, a little story behind that. When I left last time to go to Colorado, I left a washer and dryer here. Technically, you're supposed to rent these for an extra $50 a month, but they were already in the apartment, and the girl at the front who leased me the apartment was like, I never heard that they were in there. Go ahead and use them. So I'm basically getting them for free. So here's the kitchen. Nice refrigerator. Got my coffee pot, microwave, stove, sink, little island. I have some tabletop books. I've got a Tolkien Bestiary, Greg and Tim Hildebrandt, the Tolkien Years, and then a Tolkien Treasury. As you can see, I very much love J.R.R. Tolkien and Middle Earth. Over here, I have a little metal cutout art piece of a dragon around a sword. Over here, I have another metal cutout dragon head. I have my desk. Same desk I had in my old apartment, but not the same one. I bought it again, but it's the exact same desk that I had last time. I bought it again, and I made it, but instead of the drawers being on this side, I put them over here because I was going to have it sit here and not on that side of the room like I did last time. Then that goes out to the back patio. Still have some boxes there I need to throw away. And then we come in here, and this is my bed. It's got LED lights in it. It changes color. But I have a dragon comforter in like a universe setting. And then I have books. I've got my spirituality books. I've got my Legend of Drizzt Do'Urden, Forgotten Realms books. The his Dark Materials trilogy, The Golden Compass, Subtle Knives, The Amber Spyglass. I have a couple of trilogies by Mercedes Lackey. I've got a Grogu Funko Pop. And then I have a Lego Groot. I've got a Native American flute, a drum. This set here is quartz crystal in the 5 platonic solids of sacred geometry. I've got the Harry Potter books, my Tolkien books, starting with the Silmarillion and the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and some other various books by Tolkien. I've got my divination decks and the first trilogy of the Dragonlance Chronicles. And then I have a lone Robert Jordan. I need to collect that series again because I read it. And every time a new book would come out, I would reread the series. So by the time I finished the 14th book, I said never again and got rid of them. And I miss it. I want to read it again. So I've got the first book, The Eye of the World. And I'm probably going to buy another copy of it just to have all the books be the same set. And then I have my altar over here. So, and then we have the bathroom, which you can also get to from where the washer and dryer is. But it's got a long countertop. It's got some cabinetry, the shower, toilet, little walk-in closet. It's smaller than my one in my, it's smaller than the one I had in my studio apartment, but I've got all empty boxes up here. I don't have hangers yet, so I just have my clothes sitting on the thing. I'm gonna have shoes in here. I've got my puppy quilt and my weighted blanket there, my backpack. I've got some hats and more empty boxes, my backpack, my big backpack, duffel bag, other bag, and I put my dirty clothes down there. But that's pretty much it. That's the apartment. Oop, I gotta turn out the light. Oh, this closet is a pain in the ass to get to with doors that open inward. It works so much better if they opened outward. So that's pretty much the apartment. Oh, and I have the dragon canvas wrap prints over the bed. And all in the bed, obviously, it has a charging station in the middle there. And the lights have a remote. All of my furniture I bought at Amazon. And of course I got my chest there with all my candles and incense and witchy stuff in. And I just bought this Amazon Echo Dot last night, and it was actually delivered this morning. So that's pretty much the apartment. And I'll show you outside. I got some rocking chairs and a glass table. Another rocking chair over here. But this is my view from my balcony. And Saturday there's going to be fireworks out here in Kyle and further down in Buda that I'll be able to see from my balcony. So I don't have to go anywhere. Bonus. All right. Oh, let's go ahead and turn y'all around again. All right. There we go. I'm using my tripod that I bought for the trail when I was gonna hike the Appalachian Trail. So that's it for the book that I'm writing, and I can't wait to start writing. I'm so when I was using the AI to come up with the kind of a little bit of the plot line and who I was going to have be the wielder of the finished artifact and what happens at the end had me in tears. It was so moving, so inspirational, and so profound that I was completely moved. Even the AI was going, damn, that's freaking epic. So anyway, Another thing that's happened is I took what started out with trying to upload my new collection of poetry that I wrote in Colorado, Wild Heart, to a publisher. I found a website where you could put all your information, upload your manuscript, and they get back to you. And it didn't sound like it was a hybrid or a self-published company. It sounds like a traditional publisher where they pay you for your manuscript and pay you royalties and do all the work for you without you having to pay anything. I'm hoping that's what it is. It's Pegasus Publishing. So what I did was I went ahead and put the genre as being poetry, my word count, and I went to upload the manuscript, and I went to hit submit, and a window popped up, and I clicked OK and everything, and it went back to the saying, it said something, and I thought it said submitted. So I went ahead and went to upload my next manuscript because I have several that are finished. I need a publisher. So I went ahead and went to submit my collection of modern fables, Tales for Tomorrow, Modern Fables for the Future, which is 10 fables that are conservation, environmentalism, and smart device responsibility and integration of technology type fables. You know, something that's definitely suitable for the young generation and generations to come. So I went ahead and uploaded that manuscript and submitted it, but I forgot to change the genre and the word count. And come to find out that the collection of poetry never actually finalized to be submitted. Now, the collection of fables did successfully submit, but it has the wrong genre and the wrong word count. So hopefully they like the manuscript and they'll call me and we can sort that little bit out. Because I've already had one publisher interested as hell in this manuscript. They wanted it, but it was a hybrid company that wanted me to pay like $1,600 to get the ball rolling. I had to pay basically half of the cost to publish the book. And I didn't have it at the time. Actually, I think it was like $3,000. It wasn't $1,600. I think it was like $3,000 or $2,600 or something like that. And I didn't have it at the time. And so I still have her email. So whenever I do have the money, I could have. But I found Pegasus Publishing, and it sounds like a traditional publishing company that will pay me for my manuscript. I don't have to pay them. So fingers crossed, I hear from them soon. Of course, it could take anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, a year before I actually get to my manuscript. I don't know. But it would be super nice to have a manuscript that's actually published by an actual real publishing house that's going to market it and, you know, possibly, you know, sign me up for, you know, book tours and everything else. Because this book, honestly, I could see in every single elementary school and every single public library in the world. Honestly. It's that good, I think. And honestly, the other publisher thought so too. And if she was able to let me to publish the book without me having to pay, she would have on the spot, without a doubt. So it's a very special book. And I do want to, in the next couple of days, go ahead and resubmit my poetry collection because it is really good too. So, and one of the questions they ask you is, do you have any other books that are published? Which I do. I mean, they never sold any copies. They're like 2 or 3 copies, and they were to friends. But I have my 3 poetry collections, Schisms of Reality, and Love, Spirituality, and Politics, and then Gaia, Consciousness, and something else. They're over there. But the last 2 I did with, well, the last one I did with Kindle Direct Publishing. And then, since it had been so long since the first 2 were published, I went ahead and resubmitted the second collection to Kindle Direct Publishing. So they're both on Amazon. But I also have that novella that I wrote, The Sensory Files, Echo Street, about the blind twins. That one I'm going to submit, but I have to do a lot of thinking, a lot of planning before I do that, because it is the first book of a series of 10. So I got to make sure I can write the other 9. So, but it would do well with a teen audience, young adult, kind of in the vein of like, what would be a good comparison? Not really kind of X-Files, but not with aliens. I mean, there's a whole conspiracy that's going on that surrounds the twins, that's rearing its ugly head, and an international cabal of scientists. But anyway, their blindness was from a genetic anomaly that caused them to lose their sight gradually as children. And they were part of this project with this psychiatrist that heightened their senses. They don't remember any of it. I don't exactly know how I'm going to fit that in, what the method was of him forgetting about this whole part of their life, whether it be some sort of hypnotic amnesia or what have you, where they've forgotten that part of their lives. But basically the psychiatrist that they work with stole them away from the research facility that they were at and changed their names and hid them in another city. But they started using their sensory powers to help local law enforcement solve crimes. So it's a brother and sister set of twins. The brother, his sense that is super heightened is his sense of smell. And the sister, her sense that has been heightened is her hearing. She can hear kind of like stored vibrations within objects of things that have already happened, especially if they were traumatic. So in a sense, they're almost supernatural powers. But it's just their natural senses that have been psychologically heightened to that, just almost that paranormal level. And so as the series goes further, they're going to be working with, in the first book, they're working with the NYPD. The next book, I think or one of the next books, they're going to be working with LAPD, and then they're going to do a case or two with the FBI, and just kind of work international, and with the CIA and then Interpol. All the while, this phantom group of scientists, this cabal of scientists, is following them, trying to either bring them back into the fold or do away with them altogether. So it's a matter of life or death. And eventually it's all going to be resolved. But that's the future of that series. I have the first book written. So it might not be in its finished state, but the complete story is written. So that's happening. Hopefully Pegasus will reach out and want to publish my book of fables. I also, since submitting it, I have gone on and created a book cover for it that I could submit at a later date. And I'm going to try to, with Copilot, generate some pictures that can be framed around text for the interior illustration, and not have the pictures be a finished product, but have it to where it could be like an artist mock-up, where the artist will go in and draw something like this for the book illustrations. So not only do I have a manuscript, I'll have sample illustrations for what the book should look like as a finished product. So all in all, I have to say things are going well, other than cutting my hours at work. Hopefully I can find a full-time job here in the near future. Ugh. I have job applications at Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club. I just put in an application yesterday for a company that goes to auto dealerships and takes photographs and pictures of the cars for their websites and stuff. They'll put the little 360 camera in the car, and they'll take a 360 video picture, and it's a full-time job where I'm doing that, 15 cars a day on average, and it's full-time with benefits, and it's $18 an hour, which is $3 less than I'm making in Amazon, but it's a 40-hour work week versus 24. So I'll be making more money, probably double the money I have been getting with this job than if I were to stay at Amazon. But if I do find a full-time job after 90 days of resigning at the Kyle Amazon sortation center, if a job comes available at Sat 6, the old XL facility I worked at before Colorado, full-time, permanent, I will definitely go back there. I know that work. I know I'm good at it. I know the people there. It just makes sense, and it'll add to my tenure at Amazon. I'm at 4 years right now. So once I get to 5, I think I get a stock option or something, like a partial stock award. But yeah, we'll see. I think I hear one of those Guinnesses in my refrigerator calling to me. All right, well, that's pretty much what's going on. I'm a happy little camper right now. And another thing I haven't really talked about, at the end of this lease, there is always the possibility that I may go back and do seasonal work again. Because, I almost took that job, before I decided to stay here. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I did stay here, in a sense. Because now living paycheck to paycheck, worrying if I'm going to make enough money for rent before I find a full-time job. I could have already been at Snow Mountain Ranch putting $500 per paycheck in a savings account. Not have rent, not have utility, just like I did at YMCA of the Rockies. Save $1,000 a month. I had originally signed a contract for 4 months, and I was going to try to get back to Estes Park when a position came up there in housekeeping, and I was probably going to extend for 4 more months and make it 8 months in total again. And last time I had $10,000 by the end of that. And then after that, I'll have one of two options. I can either go find another seasonal job for 4 months and then go back to YMCA of the Rockies, or stay there wherever I go, especially if they pay more, which almost everybody in the seasonal job market pays more than YMCA of the Rockies. I mean, YMCA of the Rockies only paid $14.62 an hour or something like that. And most places pay anywhere from $18 to $20 an hour. So, and they provide room and board as well. Some of them only give you like one meal a day, but they also have food courts you can go to and buy your dinner, and you get a 50% discount. So you can afford it, and it would be like paying money for a living package like YMCA of the Rockies. It's just, you're going each day and buying the food you want. If you don't want to eat that particular meal, you save the money. So anyway, the other option would be to apply for a volunteer position at YMCA of the Rockies, which still provides room and board. You just don't get paid. They provide the room and board, and you don't get an hourly wage. But at that point, I'll have at least $8,000 saved. And I won't use that hardly, I won't use much of that during the 4 months that I would be volunteering, just cigarettes and gas money and, hanging out at the bar in town, with friends, going to see a movie or whatever. I won't spend $8,000 in 4 months. I'll be doing good to spend $1,000 in 4 months, So that next 8 month contract, there's eight more $1,000. So there's $16,000 saved. And imagine doing that for 5 years, 6 years. You'd have enough to get a little piece of land somewhere in an RV and a solar setup and have a well for water. Permaculture the crap out of the property, and boom, you've got food, and all you got to worry about is your property tax at the end of the year. And hopefully I would find a place where property taxes were cheap as hell, or damn near non-existent. And then I've just got to, buy clothes, buy the food I can't grow, and eventually my car will be paid off. In 6 years, it will be paid off. And if I take care of it, it'll still be in really good condition, and I won't have a car payment. That's another $377 of my VA check that's still in my pocket. And hopefully I would be able to find cheaper insurance, because my insurance just went up again from
$96 to $130 something. And the only thing that changed was my policy renewed, so it could be across the board increase. But the only thing that changed was instead of living in San Marcos, I'm living in Kyle now. I didn't get a ticket. I don't have any DWIs or anything. I've got a perfect driving record as far back as they care. So nothing changed except my location. And I don't know, maybe just insurance rates as a whole went up. I don't know. I think I'm gonna download the Jerry AI app again, and because you can put in your information in there, and it will quote you from different companies what your insurance payment would be without triggering, an avalanche of texts and phone calls from random, insurance companies 10, 13 times a day. I hate that from those websites that give you quotes. It's like, if I wanted you to call me, I would say, hey, can you call me and give me a quote? They said, well, the website gives you the quote. If I wanted to accept that quote, I would contact you. You don't ever need to contact me. They should make it illegal off of that scenario. Getting quotes. You get the quote. If you're interested, you call the insurance company. They should never cold call you. I hate that. All right, this video's gone on long enough. So I'm gonna go on with my night off. Maybe get something to snack on, finish my coffee. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, click that like button as well. Throw a brother some love in the algorithm. If you like this content, share it with your family and friends, anybody you know who likes the things I'm talking about. Can't really say hiking anymore because I don't have any hikes planned. And I haven't hiked on any trails since I got back from Georgia. With the job search and everything, I just haven't had time. But definitely get out there. Go to a green space, a state park, national park. Go hike a trail. Get out in nature. Spend some time in the sunshine and the fresh air. Put your toes in the grass. So, y'all stay safe. Y'all stay sane. And we will see you next time.
Cut through the briar slope, under black oak bones and snow. Map torn thin, torch burned low. Still we go, still we go. Wolf eyes blink in the brush, pale deer vanish in the hush. Old roots grip our boots like hands. This wild wood knows our plans.